This is Counterpunch Boxing News, and of course, I'm going to talk about some boxing. Now, in this particular topic, I'm going to talk about the positive things of boxing, the silver lining. Why not? I know everyone's pissed off about the 160-pound supposedly unification bout between Golovkin and Canelo falling through, as far as we know. But the silver lining, of that whole disappointment is other possible fights. Who else could possibly fight Golovkin? Well, Laura already stated, we already know that Laura called out Golovkin, several times. But he's at 154 and he will only come up for Golovkin and only Golovkin. So that's kind of unrealistic at this point. However, what is realistic is Chris Eubank Jr. You know, he's a very hard thumping fighter. He can punch. He has some boxing ability. He's a young guy in there. He's 26 years of age. He's not much older than Canelo. They're less than a year apart actually. But have a good record, 22-1-17, and the one loss is to Billy Joe Saunders in a split decision loss. And I really feel that Billy Joe Saunders did enough in the second half of that fight to bring the decision home. But it was a split decision loss nonetheless. But he's went on record saying that he will fight Golovkin, and he thinks he can beat Golovkin. But of course he can, you know what I mean? So, that's a fight that can happen. And I like the attitude that Chris Eubank Jr. said and how he replied. He simply said, "Hey, Canelo, he pulled out of the fight. He vacated the title, but it takes him out the limelight. So it puts someone else in. So when somebody steps in, somebody steps down, somebody has to step up, right? Why not Chris Eubank Jr.? He has some good punching power. He fights in spots. He's a spotty fighter, but the punching power that he has, I think, can keep Golovkin honest. And it could actually hurt Golovkin because, hey, styles make fights. Now let's look at Chris Eubank Jr. After he lost the split decision to Billy Joe Saunders, he went on to fight Gary Spike O'Sullivan, because Sullivan was calling him out. Sullivan was calling him out on Twitter and other social media saying he wanted to fight him. So, he went in there and duked it out, and in that fight was over and in 7 rounds. They had retired that fighter. You know what I mean? Because he was, Chris Eubank Jr. was putting a whooping on him. He also beat the undefeated Shuvanov. Who else? What did he do to Nick Blackwell? He punched that guy, and made him swell pretty bad. You know what I mean? Because he had, it wasn't hematoma, but he had bleeding on the brain, definitely. He had a lot of swelling around his eyes and his temple. And his dad urged him, like, hey, stop the fight. You're going to kill this kid. And in fact, they had to, and put him in an induced coma. So it was serious. So, and that came from the punching power of Chris Eubank Jr. You know what I mean? And so after the Billy Joe Saunders fight, this kid does prove that not only he has punching power and skill, but he also has heart. So you got to take all that in consideration because that is a good comeback and a good bounce back, from doing that, especially the undefeated fighters. Now he's fighting another guy by the name of Tom Duran, another undefeated fighter, that is going to be on the undercard of the Anthony Joshua fight. So, stay tuned for it, because the kid's up and coming and he's calling out everyone. He called out the rematch of Billy Joe Saunders. I don't think Saunders wants to give him a rematch, but I think that should have been the next fight, honestly, because it was that split. It was that close. So I don't see why a rematch wouldn't have been, implemented in that regard. But nonetheless, he's doing a good job as a boxer. He has one loss, one split decision, disputed loss, and he's calling out Triple G, the monster of the division, and a lot of people as of yet has yet to sign their name on that contract to fight Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you anybody with balls it will be covered on my page, on my channel, because this is what it's about. It's about the best fighting the best. And Chris Eubank Jr., you know, he was a title holder, and he's up to fight Danny Jacobs. Now, that's another possible opponent. Danny Jacobs could fight Golovkin. But, he has of yet to find an opponent. But I do see a good, I don't know what Danny Jacobs, what his plans are, what his camp plans to do. But he needs another fight, So I would like to see him get in there with Chris Eubank Jr. or, he fight Golovkin and Chris Eubank Jr. fight the winner. You know what I mean? That sounds like it's a good plan, a good middleweight showdown. Why not? So I really see those fights developing pretty good. Chris Eubank Jr. He's I'm interested in seeing what he does at middleweight. Because he's only 26 years of age. And he's had beef with OSullivan. And he's also had beef with DeGaulle. Word around the campfire. Eubank Jr. and DeGaulle, sparred at DeGaulle's family gym, and I hear that, Eubank Jr. got the best of him. He beat him up, and, that kind of, left a sour taste in DeGaulle's mouth, and he kicked him out of his gym. So, if he had to do something for someone to get kicked out of your gym, you know what I mean? So, so it went to social media pretty hard, I researched that a little bit, and checked it out. So, I would love to see a potential fight between him at 168 and DeGaulle, because they have bad blood or beef or whatever. And whenever you have those type fights, it always gears to a good fight. You know what I mean? Because, it's emotions involved and a history, of something else besides, the true art of the sport. It's a reason for rhyme. So, I look forward to seeing stuff like that. But the silver lining is there's a lot of good fights that can be made because of the Canelo drop off. Now, you got guys like Andy Lee and Quillen and guys like that, but they've already been beaten by other guys. You know what I mean? So like Andy Lee, Andy Lee, Quillen, those are possible opponents, and I would like to see Golovkin get in the ring with any of those guys, but I think that Chris Eubank Jr. and Golovkin would be a pretty good fight. As of now, I'm just interested, and I'm just really proud of a fighter, that's going in there, and making a fight that like Lara and Eubank Jr. These guys are calling out the monster, the unavoidable, the guy that no one wants to fight. So the spotlight is automatically shined on them, to that degree. Win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? Because this is what it's about. You never know until you try. A lot of these guys won't try. You just get nothing. You get no merits for that whatsoever. So, and I look forward to seeing how it develops. And probably, since it's a European promotion in K2, I'm pretty sure they can get a good fight together in England, at Wembley, or wherever, O2 Arena. That venue could be sold out because boxing is hot and alive over there in England and Great Britain. So, I look forward to that again, and just want to cover that because a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth, again, about the Canelo Golovkin fight. Well, hey, if the fight never happens, there's other fighters that deserve more than Canelo's getting. I always said that, you know what I mean? Especially the ones that want to fight the best. If you want to fight the best and you want to take the test, take the test. You know what I mean? And then, hey, we'll figure out the rest, when you get in the ring. But this is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News wrapping it up, and you've been counterpunched. Please subscribe. Peace.